see if it just starts with a cutscene. Who is that? It's Ulbrig. I still have to decide who to romance. What a view. The lands of the Fae doesn't disappoint. Just look at those towers. I reckon there's more of them than there are stars in the sky. But wait, the sky's empty. No stars, no moon, nothing. Amazing. Hey, War Chief. How about we take a peek from above? Climb on my back, I'll give you a ride over the magic land. Who would say no to riding a Griffin? Let's go. Hold on tight. Nice. And I gotta say, I mean, it's such a cruel plane, of course, because it's the Abyss. But it definitely has its beauty, I would say. Don't you think so? After helping you down off his back, Ulbrig returns to his human form. His face radiates joy. Well, what do you think of that? Did you like seeing the magical land from a Griffin's eyes of view? Let's kiss Ulbrig. Ulbrig sweeps you into his powerful embrace. Aww. I would have liked to talk a bit more though, but I take it. Here with some of the slaves we freed. With Rachel and Neo too. I guess some of them are inside. Let's long rest first. Before I forget that. And just say it.
Your demonic heritage holds so much appeal for you. Isn't it enough to be mortal? To live among mortals? To be ordinary?
When you get to know people a little better, you'll see where I'm coming from. You've got it in your head that being mortal's some great thing, but it ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Oh. Now we're inside. We will never forget you, how you saved us. You're a true hero, an arbiter of mercy, sent by Radiant Sarenrae herself. Sosiel is drawing something, but when he notices you, he hurriedly folds over the paper. The first one sounds kind of mocking, doesn't it? Struggling for inspiration? The priest shakes his head. My drawing it's just not flowing the way it normally does. This place doesn't inspire creativity. Don't tell me you've managed to find some beauty in the Abyss. No. Cringing a little, Sosiel shows you a few sheets of crossed out sketches. You can still recognize the vistas of Alushinyrra in them. I tried, but I can't. Not here. May the goddess forgive me, but it's beyond my powers. I need to talk to you. Of course. How can I help? Oh, you know, your brother used to be a Hell Knight. What do you think about that? I've always despised those people, and I always will. But they are hardly to blame for my brother straying from the goddess's path. He's only himself to blame, it seems. I probably shouldn't have put Trevor on a pedestal the way I did. People change. You see, I was quite fervent in my beliefs as a boy, and I thought the teachings of the goddess had already revealed to me all the truths I should know. Now I realize I didn't know a thing about the world around me or about myself. Perhaps this war will chew me up the same way it did Trevor, or perhaps this example will keep me from breaking. Oh. Darren looks rather distracted. He's staring into the space as though he's listening to something deep inside himself. Finally, he notices you, and his lips quirk into a nervous smile. So many people have cursed me and told me I'll end up in the abyss when I die. I suppose I rather deftly subverted the expectations by getting here while I'm still alive. What a daring thing to say. If anyone could get themselves out of this mess, it's us. You really seem to believe that. How astonishing. Well, at least I'm following a fearless leader who seems immune to pangs of melancholy. Traversing the abyss with a miserable commander would have been utterly unbearable. Do you want to talk about your past? I've been thinking a lot about what happened since our visit to Heaven's Edge. Aaron's face grows grim. I don't like discussing such unpleasant things. You seem to be quite capable of having fun, so why are you... I don't even know what you're trying to achieve here. I suppose you can always ask and I'll decide whether I want to answer or not. Tell me honestly, do you miss the people who died that day? Aaron is silent for a moment. His pupils seem to pulsate to the rhythm of his thoughts. Or emotions, perhaps. I regret leaving my mother alone. She deserved a better death than that. They confined her to a room so that she wouldn't infect those who still believed they could avoid the illness and... Oh, I forgot that you didn't know. Alright, that's enough. He shakes his head. Let me be blunt, I don't care about my so-called kin at all. People die every day, and none of those people were my friends. They are dead. I'm alive, and able to enjoy the life to the fullest. Besides, there are many things far worse than death. So, were you ever close to your mother? Darren sighs. Perhaps. Maybe. My mother loved me and I loved her, even though I was thorn in her side. How can you truly believe to be close to your parents when you are just an arrogant whelp? At least I was lucky enough to have a real mother instead of a countess mother. Aristocratic parents often see their children as valuable investments and vessels for all their ambitions. Yeah, thank you for your answer. Can you come up with something more exciting to talk to me about? For example, why I hate equestrian statues and what befell the marble horse of marble grandmother. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh Darren. I hear with the boy. Can't talk about anything new. Let's talk to Ember and the other person. Ember is bobbing her head and humming a tune. She greets you with a carefree, cheerful smile. The wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Do you really think the demons will listen to you? They listened to me, didn't they? I told them what I wanted to say. They might have forgotten it all right away, but what if they didn't? What exactly do you want to discuss with Noticula? I don't know. I just wanted to see her with my own eyes. Maybe then I will know what to say. So cheerful, so carefree. I will learn the weight of my sword. I will have faith in the inheritor. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. With her eyes closed, Sela whispers the words of an oath to Iomede's paladins. Trailing off, she opens her eyes and sighs. How did we end up here? I never would have imagined I found myself in the abyss. We've overcome everything we faced so far, so we'll get through this one as well. That's right. Thank you, Logan Aldori. I've always had faith in us, and I will keep having faith. But sometimes a girl needs a few words of encouragement. If I may ask, how are you? Alan's wedding, things didn't really go as planned. What does it matter how I am? I can't stop thinking about everyone who suffered. Clever Sela the Paladin, companion to the God's Chosen One, didn't even notice a demon's conspiracy right under her nose. I'm going to officially change my name to Sela the Dimwit. That's how I introduce myself to everyone I meet, so that they know they can't count on me. Aw, don't be so harsh to yourself. Sela chuckles grimly, then adds in a softer, more serious tone. If we're too late to save the souls of all these victims, I'll never forgive myself. You know what else I keep thinking about? What happened to Curl? Did he really want to steal the ring? Did he just get what was coming to him? Or was it the thought of demons who possessed his body? So many questions and so much grief. As if a whole world wound and 2 demon lords out there just waiting to hurt us wasn't enough. Oh. Don't falter.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Moldev. Moldev glances at you as you approach, but quickly drops his gaze to the ground. Hey Chief, I wanted to say I'm sorry for yelling at you the other day. He pauses for a moment and looks guiltily up at you again. I remember? When he was like, you're up to something, there's a reason you helped me, you want something from me. Apparently deciding his apology was insufficient before you have a chance to respond, Moldev hurriedly adds to it, you didn't deserve that, you're not like anybody I've ever met. It's hard for me to deal with you, you know? What do you mean, I'm not like anyone you've ever met? Well, you're... Moldev stops, trying to find the words, then just gestures vaguely at you. Honestly, I didn't think people like you really existed, Chief. I mean, you're this larger-than-life legend. You got something that makes people want to follow you, and it's not just your magic powers. Even I want to follow you, and you're marching us into the Worldwound. If it was anybody else, I'd be halfway to gold by now, but it's like you make everyone around you lose their minds. You got any idea how scary that makes you? He laughs nervously, like he's just now realizing how insane the situation is. I can't say I blame you, I am pretty scary. You have nothing to be afraid of. You can just trust me, I promise. I believe you, and that's what scares me. Moldev lets out another bark of anxious, mirthless laughter. Everything I know about real people and the real world, it just flies out the window when you're around. And the craziest part is, you make us like that. Ah, sounds very cute. And a bit like falling for us. Us or you? The tiefling chokes a little bit, and his face flushes slightly. Huh? What that's supposed to mean? Unfortunately, we can't say anything more. That's understandable. Thanks for clearing that up. You can see Moldev relax a little. Yeah, glad to put it behind us. Can we talk about something else now? Hehe. Greybor. Did we never talk to Greybor? Apparently. Greybor nods to you politely. As always, wisps of sweet smoke rise from his pipe. Can I help you, Commander? I want to know more about you. I know what you're asking. How did someone like me end up in these lands? A warrior without kith or kin, or godly blessing, or crusader's mentor? Many have asked the same question. Tell me about your past. I was born in Daggermark, the city of thieves, murderers, and poisoners. I soldiered for a while, served in the infantry under Jella Korvesh. Didn't take long to realize there's two types of Daggermark soldiers. There's the dumb thugs who need to be bossed around, and there's the adventurous lads who use the title to murder and extortion for hire. Sounds like very charming people. You can guess which one I fell in with. I knew the rules of the game, and the wealthy often called in to me to solve their problems or get a leg up on their competition. Then I got into a squirrel with an officer and I left their service and became an independent contractor. It turns out, outside Daggermark, there's a lot fewer specialists who fit my profile. A proper assassin can get paid pretty well. The job took me all over Everston before I came here. Good for you for leaving the army. Soldiers are the same as assassins, only they work for the politicians, and they don't get paid. Very true. And in Daggermark, they don't make much effort to hide it. Do you have a family? My people don't brook trade with assassins. The family I'm from are honest merchants and loyal worshippers of Torek. By now, they must think I'm dead. It'd be appalled if they found out how things really stood. The dwarf grows grim, and his strong teeth clench his pipe until it cracks. And for my other family, I got one of those too. On my travels I met a woman, fair and kind. For I laid down my weapon and got a house, became a simple city dweller. We had a daughter. We lived like that for a year and a half before the road called me back. I loved her, but that life... It was like I was being buried alive. I was ready to kill myself, just to end the torturous meaninglessness. Only on the road could cure me of those thoughts, but for some reason I keep going back to that house I once lived in, to the woman I once loved, to the daughter I don't even realize now, and who doesn't know me. I watch from afar. I don't have the right to return to their lives. Mora, my daughter. I don't know what she is to me. The biggest mistake of my life, or the greatest mark I leave on the world. But she could have gone traveling with you, couldn't she? Paper frowns and nods at you. Yes, but I'm not made for family life, nor she for the life on the road. Does that mean I'm the villain? No, but probably not the best dad in the book. What brought you to the Worldwound? The dwarf shrugs. There's a lot of good jobs here and not many competitors. A lot of dangerous demons, and every one of them has gobbled up someone's son, wife, or best friend. And who they come to for vengeance? Choose the Crusaders? They're bound up by their order, and they lack the necessary skills. Anyway, same difference on this. The people who hire me don't want to wait until the crusade ends, if it ever will. That's where I come in, ready to deliver targeted vengeance today, for a generous fee. What's your opinion on the crusade? I'd lie if I said I see much difference between me and the Crusaders. Times now aren't like they were during the First Crusade. Nowadays, the ranks of the Crusades are filled with fugitives, opportunists, exiled nobles, fortune hunters, and lads who just plain love carnage. And all of them should thank the gods that the Worldwound is still open. What? Otherwise, they'd be busy with robbery and murder. And when they met me in the street, they'd not be wearing noble scowls, but taking off their hats and addressing me as Sir. Don't you dare compare Crusaders to criminals. They are fighting against a demon invasion. Raver sighs philosophically. Yes, against demons. But what are they fighting for? What's in their heads? Maybe they're just like shopping up monsters. Don't fool yourself. Crusaders aren't all saints. Some just like carnage and the thrill of the fight. Why, I definitely would agree with that. That doesn't mean like that everyone is like that or that the crusade is like that. Okay, thank you. You've satisfied my curiosity. You know, you're the first among many of my clients to ask such questions. I'm a bard. I will ask all the questions this game gives me. Tell me about your craft. Like any master of this craft, I can talk for hours about the subtleties of my trade and my finest work. Or would you prefer to test me yourself? Let's fight. What's the most important thing in an assassin's work? Weber chuckles. The first rule of an assassin, bring the hat back with you. Seriously though, tactics and equipment are what matters. The one isn't the strongest, but the one who strikes first. So long as that's also last. When I get a job, I don't rush into things. Let the victim know they are being hunted. Let them reinforce their guards. Trust no one and fall into paranoia. And only when the victim is exhausted, at the end of their tether, do I come in to wish them sweet dreams. That might sound funny, but believe me, no one's laughing in that room. He has a very dry sense of humor, I can definitely appreciate that. And I think while Logan and him are at odds at quite a few things, they can also kinda work together really well. Are you haunted by remorse? Or the kills? Ah, not at all. I've met a lot of good people, but many of them had a generous price on their heads. Everyone is a thorn in someone else's side. For some reason, Fox imagines the good lads have fair right to ruin the lives of the bad ones, and not the other way around. It is only the morals of a majority that determines who's good and who's a villain. And those morals shift every day. I've been to many different places, talked to many different people, and the morals were different everywhere. I would say that's like the definition of neutrality. On the other side, like, agreeing to that is evil. I'm kind of torn between good and chaotic, between kill for gold is horrible, how do you sleep at night? But I think that's kinda hypocrisy, because I mean, look how many people we killed in this campaign already. And also not just demons, but also people, for the greater good. So I would go with the chaotic one, I think it's more honest. Some people just have to die, and the sooner the better. I'm sure you killed a lot more scumbags than good people. Or I hope so. Killing good people doesn't tend to pay very well. They're the dangerous, twisted, bloody sons of bitches who fetch the highest bounty. That's why they're my specialty. That's also good, so that he doesn't get like a contract on our life. Because I mean, to be just killed during sleep, nah. You must value your reputation a great deal. Grave or not with dignity. Of course, in my line of work, reputation is everything. It keeps away the random fools who are looking for a fight, and the right people know I can be trusted. Anyone who has no care for their reputation is no better than a frog-eating kobold. There's no doing business with those hacks. The best you can do is use them for a job and then kill them afterwards. Whereas I, as a professional with a name, demand respect from the client. Tell me about your best murder. How fun. The most difficult one was a professor at the Clockwork Cathedral in Absalom. The very existence of the wizard mechanic was a secret, and almost nobody knew his face or his name. Hunting him down was a symphony of violence and hard tactics. I had to sneak through his secret underground palace that looked like a wind-up dollhouse put up together by a psychopath. No rational mind could have invented such intricate traps, and there were mechanical cutlass spiders everywhere. They nearly took 2 fingers and an ear. The professor was a dangerous bloke. Day and night he wore a deadly mechanism as a sort of armor, which made him look like an 8-legged, steam-spewing winged monster. So like a steampunk winged spider? Oh boy. But I came prepared. A tomb raider from Osirian taught me how to avoid the traps. And I opened up this armored suit with a lick-toed goblin sword. It's not even a sword, more like a giant can opener. They use them to pull fallen knights from their armor to devour later, but I digress. I tore open his armor and saw his true form. Don't ask me what he was. I'll just say it was very unexpected. The mechanic went berserk and attacked me with incredible force. It was too much for me, and I had to flee. The fool thought he won until he realized I reassembled all his trap into a giant death machine. 2 minutes after I escaped, his palace turned into a cloud of dust. Without his immaculate armor, my mark was sent on his merry way to... well, I suppose he's on a plane for broken golems and music boxes. Sounds like Limbus. He really seems to enjoy his work. Do you worship any of the gods? It's my family way to worship Torek, though see not my own. Many craftsmen venerate Torek, and I consider my work a craft, but Torek's priests also say that he abhors murder. Either way, I name another god as my patron, Norgobra, the dog of God and unlawful actions. He and I, we have an understanding. Unfortunately, we can't read more of him because his name is not highlighted. Here it is. Norgobra. Norgobra is known as the once mortal god of theory and assassination, as well as the keeper of secrets. He's called the Reaper of Reputation by some, but he has more insidious titles among worshippers who venerate his other 3 aspects: Black Fingers, Father Skinscore, and the Grey Master. I think we already read that one time, but I forgot, so here it is again. He remains an enigma to most, and his true motives are unknown. Many of his own followers remain ignorant of his plans and designs. Norgobra is the only evil god amongst the Ascended. Doesn't sound so neutral anymore. And also an interesting god to worship, because it seems... what do you do then? What happens? Everything is a mystery. Blackfinger's my patron. Unlike many of the other gods, he himself was once mortal, which makes him honest. His teachings are built upon the grim truths of the street, and that raised me. Norgobra will not try to fool you. He will never demand that you achieve perfection. After all, everyone knows that he is not perfect himself. Countless psychopaths and other scum worship him too. Butchers who have conducted mass murders call him Father Skinsore. Bonehead street vermin thank the Grey Master for a bunch of coins they've managed to wrest away from a passerby. And, of course, the most despicable of them all, those who praise Norgobra as the Reaper of Reputation, those disgusting rotten rats. Politicians. Interesting that he still worships him. It didn't really tell us too much about why. What do you think of your new powers? The dwarf glances at his hands. They're strong and firm, and abnormally lean for his race. A nice bonus. My career is in for an upturn. Who knows, maybe one day I pull off a truly mythical job. A deity or a demon lord, or something of the sort. Dream big. I want to kill a demon lord. Do you like working for me? After some thought, the dwarf offers you a slight smile. Yes, I like you, Commander. You don't keep me from doing what I do. You don't try to preach at me, and you act with precision and competence. I respect that. We didn't really have much options to preach to you, though. I want to know more about your last client. He decided to remain anonymous, but I suspect his name is Willidus. I'd already struck off a few lesser demons for him, and later in Kenabres a stronger one. And in the Battle of Dresden, the client insisted I kill the demon with a dagger he gave me, and tell the rat that Willidus said hello. According to my client, one step would be enough. But it turned out differently. The demon survived, a stain on my reputation. I don't know why he got it wrong. Simple incompetence, or did he set me up to fail? Either way, I'd love to have another chat to this widow. Alright.
Let's see what we
So
can
much
do.
talk.